Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture of a gosh dang. It's either a hot dog or a Pop-Tart. Either one. Long story short, that's my Hank Hill impression. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Let's Get Cereal, the weekly show where I, your host, Alyssa Marino, eat cereal and talk about stuff. We have a great topic to discuss today, but before we get into that, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I never wear hats, but I have this hat on today. I'm not going to take it off because I'm having a bad hair day, but I am going to show you super duper limited edition Thick Daddy snapback. So if you're interested, which I'm sure you are, you're going to want to reach out to the Thick Daddy himself, Uptown Andy Brown, at Up Andy Brown on all the socials. Talk to him and get one of your very own. And now we commence with the episode. I talked about this topic. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart because I spend a lot of time in front of screens. We're talking about our favorite television shows. We left it wide open. It could be childhood favorites. It could be something you recently binge watched. It could be just an all-time favorite comfort show. Mine, I'll share right off the bat, is Parks and Recreation. I hear the Parks and Recreation theme song. I know everything is going to be okay. Another great one is Bob's Burgers for me. It's a very special show. It's near and dear to my heart. I was Tina Belcher for Halloween like 3 years in a row. It goes deep, my love for Bob's Burgers and the entire Belcher family. I feel like I know them. That would be another thing, is best TV theme songs. That's going to be a future topic for discussion. Y'all just saw the light bulb go on for me. But, we can't get to chatting without a little bit of, it's not liquid courage, grainy courage? I don't know. What would be the equivalent? It's cereal. And today's cereal we have, drumroll please, Kashi Organic Berry Fruitful. And I hope that all your endeavors are very fruitful in the future. I don't know, whatever. Let's get into it. I poured a big bowl because we have a lot to discuss. And now, add some oat milk and make it a party. Full disclosure, I've only actually snacked on these dry because I'm an animal and I have no self-control. They remind me a lot of the fruit-filled shredded wheat little gimmicks, and I'm very excited to get into these. I think that with the addition of oat milk, it'll be even more special. It's almost like a shredded wheat Fig Newton, because you can see there's kind of like a little bit of a jelliness inside. And it's berry flavored, and it's really getting me excited. So without further ado, my friends, let's get cereal. It takes a minute when you get into the jelly berry center. It's almost like a crispier version of a jammy Dodger. I love me a jammy Dodger. Okay, this is delicious. I'm excited for it. So now that I have my snack, let's get into talking about some of your favorite TV shows. First and foremost, one of my all-time fave broadcast colleagues. You can catch me on the call with him, Blitzkrieg Pro, a Pro Wrestling Grind, every so often at Limitless. Johnny Torres is nearly caught up with Doctor Who. Admittedly, I am far behind on Doctor Who, but this is definitely something that is going to be discussed in the future. So Johnny, if you're listening, be ready. We have much to discuss. Another one of the pals that I have shared announced teams with in the past, over on the West Coast, Adnan Qureshi, the handsome voice. Big fan of Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. Now this I would put in the running if we did decide to do a topic of best theme songs. Because, dang, that is a catchy theme song. Especially at the end where it goes, a lot of fun sibilances and just interesting noises are happening. I like all the sound effects. I'm a fan. Another one of the SoCal Pals, another alum of the Santino Brothers Advocates Program with Adnan and myself, Rob Collin, just finished Succession. I have heard so much about Succession, and I made the mistake. I was seeing, like, oh, what's going on? I was seeing clips of it online because people were hailing them as, like, Emmy award-winning performances. That's what they do for TV, right? Emmys? Award-winning performances by the cast. So I was, like, watching these clips. I'm like, oh, my God, wow, this is really intense, but I have no idea what's going on. So it feels like it's very heavy, subject matter-wise, but I really know nothing about it. There's a family dynamics, familial relationships. But Rob, I'm glad that you enjoyed. Another pal from the Blitzkrieg broadcast booth. Nice alliteration. The one and only Gabe K. Fabian, That 70s Show, said it's a show they've watched about 6 times entirely and will continue to watch over and over again. This is a show where if it's on and I happen upon it, I'm down. I did one watch through, but like toward the end, I just kind of lost interest. But this show, when it has its funny moments, they are big, hearty, guffawing, laugh out loud moments. Referee Nate Speckman says, Boy Meets World, all day, every day. I remember Boy Meets World being like a pillar of my childhood. And I think that the star of the show for me was always Eric, just because he was a silly goofball. I remember Fine. I can remember that show, because I never went back and did a rewatch, so there are only certain, like, moments that I'll recall and certain, like, gags or gimmicks. But maybe I'll do for a rewatch. I sometimes get afraid of going back and watching shows that I loved as a little kid, because I'm afraid, what if I watch them back and they aren't actually that good? Does that concern anybody else? Like, like all that. I'm afraid to go back and watch all that because I'm like, oh my God, what if these skits that I thought were the best thing since sliced bread, what if they aren't even that funny? Dang. Huh. My pal Ben F. Silverio said Frasier. Now, Frasier's another show I feel is so iconic, has such a renowned cast. I have no idea what it's about. Truly, I don't. I think I mix it up in my head because I'm like, oh, is it about a radio show? But then I'm like, wasn't there another radio show like in the 90s? I think it was Talk Radio? Spin City? Was Spin City about newspapers? See, I'm all jumbled up in my head. I feel like so many people rave about Frasier, but I always felt like I was like not interested. Ben, maybe I'll give this a shot. Comes highly regarded from you. Maybe I'll give it a shot. We had 2 back-to-back choices for Seinfeld. We had Chicks Kick Ass on Twitter and a chick who kicks ass, Casey Spinelli, both fans of Seinfeld. Seinfeld is a show that, for me, I watched back as an adult and enjoyed so much more because I actually knew what was happening. I think the first time around, it would be something that like my parents thought was hysterical, but I didn't really get. And then watching it back, I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it clicked so much more. That and I think just like surly New Yorkers, and after being to New York and knowing some New Yorkers, it's like, yeah, this checks out. Great choices. The good pal Frank Leone said, How I Met Your Mother, but used the acronym HIMYM, and it took me a second. But then I was there, How I Met Your Mother, and I knew that was it. I will be honest, I have not watched much of How I Met Your Mother. I have watched maybe an episode here or there, a few clips here or there, but I haven't given it a fair shot. So God, I'm going to end up with more television shows that I need to watch than I've even seen. But okay, How I Met Your Mother. The lovely Shea Sawyer is a fan of Grey's Anatomy. We love a medical drama. D. Vargas of DNC Digital gave a list. It's tough to decide. Family Matters, Full House, Law and Order, Friends, Fresh Prince. No need to apologize, even though you said sorry. Couldn't do just one, and there are many more. I believe it. Somehow, though, when I'm asked, I was on, I think actually it was Shea Sawyer who had asked the question on Astrid Asks, recent podcast that I did, and I blanked out. I could not think. First, I could only think of one. It was Parks and Rec because it was the theme song. I almost blanked on Bob's Burgers, and I couldn't even get to a top 5. I had to stop at 4, and then I couldn't think of another one. It's not good. But my friend, I'm so happy that you have so many shows that bring you joy. Now we have Edwin at Edwin1017 on Twitter. Big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Well, you, my friend, are in good company because another person that shared that Buffy the Vampire Slayer was their choice was my mom. You're in good company. And for me, I absolutely love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I will watch the first 3 seasons and then just restart. I'll just start it back at the beginning. Because aside from like the musical episode and a few here or there later on in seasons, nope, just take me back. Just take me back to the beginning and let me do it all over again. So let me relive that. I don't know. I just like going back to the beginning. I just like when things are innocent and fun and silly and the writing is great. Things get so convoluted and like obviously death and vampires and supernatural are all like not heavy subjects, but like things get too heavy. Ugh, I'm not emotionally equipped for some deeper Buffy dives, you know? Get me my swimmies. Ed Fries on Twitter, fan of Smallville, White Collar, and Boy Meets World. Rob Spencer at the CROB, which is either the Crob or the C-Rob on Twitter, reminding themselves to rewatch The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Yes, do that. That's another one, another childhood favorite that I used to love so much, but now I wonder, like, oh, is it as good as I remember it being? Like that, like, Hey Dude. Like, what if I went back and I watched Hey Dude or I watched Pete and Pete and it isn't as good as I remember? I fear that with Rocko's Modern Life as well. One of these days, I'm going to pull off that Band-Aid. But Rob Spencer said, in more recent times, Detroiters has been a go-to. St. Clair loves Smart Guy. Ricky the Merchant of Gains on Twitter, Saved by the Bell. I like this. These are all classics. Kevin Prake at Prake Journalist on Twitter, Psych. I've heard so much about Psych. I love a little it's like almost a buddy cop, like a detective thing. Are they solving crimes? Either way, I like the buddy dynamic. I've seen some clips here or there. Steve at Almighty Quim on Twitter loves Parks and Rec. Good choice. And also said Scrubs, Psych, another for Psych. And I Think You Should Leave. I Think You Should Leave is also like high on my list because I think a lot of my friends have like been involved in stuff on it, which I'm like, hey, that's really cool. Let me go support the pals. But also just looks really like interesting and silly and fun. If I think it's the show, I think it is. Which I think it is. Mm-hmm. Anthony Leonhardt at Anthlion Designs said The Nanny with the incomparable Fran Drescher. Comedic genius. That voice alone. Love it. Abe Froman at Tiresias. Favorite comfort show was one called Sports Night. It was an Aaron Sorkin show before The West Wing. Thank you for providing this detail. I like to have some context. An amazing show. Won a ton of awards and was canceled after 2 seasons. Dang, that tweet sent me on a journey, my friend. Sheesh. Sorry to hear that. Like, imagine what could have been. Lee Inkster at I Am Scottish 11. Love to watch a variety of different game shows growing up. I like this. This is a niche that we didn't really talk about. So, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Gladiators, Ninja Warrior, The Cube, Deal or No Deal, etc. Brilliant game shows. Heck yeah, and that kind of stuff, it gets the mind going. It's so entertaining. Yes. PA at NinersFan5024 on Twitter said The Office, another classic. I'm actually surprised we didn't have more of The Office, although my next one of my very dear friends, Ogechi, said a recent binge was Better Call Saul, but a comfort show is The Office and Modern Family. These are great picks, and I feel like The Office is one that for me, I think I watched a few seasons in, and then it's kind of like Buffy, where I just wanted to start back at the beginning, where things felt simpler. But I actually was very surprised that more people didn't say The Office. My dear pal Morgan at QueenBabyMorgie on IG and at Christopher_JRM on Instagram both said The Simpsons. Another one, like The Office, that I'm surprised more people weren't like, Simpsons, easy, Simpsons. I feel like it's just like a knee-jerk reaction because it's so widely popular and it's been going on for so long. Fernando Reyes on IG said that 90s show. We gave that 90s show a shot and kind of sped right through it. It was an easy watch. There were some fun little returns. I loved that it was Red and Kitty. I just loved that they were still involved. It was a lot of fun. Overall, I can't complain. It did feel weird because like I associate so much of like the environments and like the scenery and the sets with a certain cast. So to have like new, like fresh blood in there, it's an interesting dynamic for sure. At AnalogKid91 on IG, Mythbusters, sleeper pick. Because Mythbusters is a show that I can say with pretty full confidence I've never sought out watching, but I've always happened upon and always enjoyed. Like without fail, if I accidentally watch it, it's a terrible thing to say. I don't mean like I accidentally, like if I don't, I will always go into it not expecting to watch Mythbusters. But every time I do watch Mythbusters, I enjoy it. I feel like that's the way I meant to say it. Perry Von Vicious said King of the Hill. So many funny, just random lines from that. Isn't there even a line? I don't know if it's an actual line from the show or just someone saying a line in Hank Hill voice, but do I look like I know what a Pop-Tart is? A JPEG is? I just want a picture of a goddamn hot dog. Pop-Tart? What was the line? Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture of a gosh dang. It's either a hot dog or a Pop-Tart. Either one. Long story short, that's my Hank Hill impression. Alright, we're winding it down over here at Marino. At Marino99007 on IG said Burn Notice, which is another one, sadly, I don't know the synopsis of. I don't know what happens. I don't know what's supposed to happen. I'll look into that. And finally, at Not That Non on IG, comfort show is South Park. Oh, another excellent choice. And favorite recently binge-watched show was 30 Rock. Excellent choices overall. And I thank you all so much for sharing them with me. But my friends, you know what time it is. Bottoms up. There was one last little biscuit at the end, so I didn't want it to feel left out. Thank you again for sitting and enjoying some breakfast with me today. What's going on? What's happening? Next Sunday is Spark Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is going to be taking place in Newark. I am very excited that I will be lending my voice over there, so I will be on the call. I believe also ring announcing too, so that's going to be a lot of fun. If you cannot make it out, if you're not in the Newark/tri-state area, they are also doing a show on the West Coast. They're doing Spark West a few days after and Spark East on June 11th. So stay tuned for more information on that, as well as where to watch the show after it happens. There are some amazing matches that have already been announced, which I'm super, super, super excited for. Keep your eyes peeled because I believe Pro Wrestling Grind's recent show, Emerald Sword, should be coming out on IWTV sometime in the near distant future. If you interacted with this question that I posed, I do post them on social media, so hopefully you're following me over there. If not, please do, because I do also quick question segments where I talk to some of your favorite wrestlers and referees and announcers and personalities in the pro wrestling world at various shows I go to, and I ask them a random question, and I gather up the answers, and it's my little fun research project / content. It's key. I think that's all we have for now. Thank you again so much, my breakfast buddies, for sitting down, for chatting with me, for listening to me chat at you and eat cereal in front of your face. You're the best. And until next time, my friends, continue to do your best to be your best. And I will see you later.